former Air Force intel officer. I used to be stationed up here at Hurlburt. I got out 1 May due to the COVID shot mandates. If you guys are not familiar with Lieutenant Colonel Teresa Long, she provided DMED data and testimony to Senator Johnson's hearing about the COVID shot mandates in the military.
What's DMED?
It is the Department of Defense medical database where any sort of adverse reactions to vaccinations is reported.
So it would be the most comprehensive
It
the
would-
U.S. has?
It should be for the Department of Defense. However, the Department of Defense, after she was a whistleblower, they shut down the DMED database and said, oh, it wasn't updated correctly. So take that for what you will, but her reports were myocarditis in the military was up 2,800%, cancers were up 300 to 900%, infertility in both genders is up 500%, miscarriages up 300%, and I have friends that have experienced miscarriages. Neurological disorders up 1,000%, HIV up 500%, and then here in the community, it's very important. We have the largest veteran population in the country, and a lot of schoolhouses here. And if any of you attended the Medical Freedom Rally and heard Captain Stewart speak, he actually just texted me this week from a friend of his who's a student pilot. Fun thing happened while flying today where my instructor almost passed out due to heat/weak ECS. He called himself out for feeling like crap. We knocked off training and I took controls and flew us home while trying to stay chatty with him in the cockpit. It was bad enough that he was showing me the color of his hands, weird blue-purple, and basically had his head in his hands himself. So this student pilot was able to navigate the helo back to base, and I asked Captain Stewart if this is normal, and he said for them to have purple hands is not normal for a heat stroke.
And what is ECS?
I'm not sure, I'll have to find that out. And then today, my friend Nick, who's a plaintiff with me suing the government, he keeps track of all the updated discharges in the military over the COVID vaccine mandate for active duty. Over 5,400 people have been discharged involuntarily, and half of those are Marines. So this is very significant, both in a national security standpoint and also for health reasons. A friend of mine who's a U-28 pilot up at Hurlburt Field gave in and got the shot, and within 2 days was admitted to the ER with an inflamed heart. So these are our pilots, these are our best, most capable military members who do not want it and are standing their ground, being forced to choose between their health and their careers. And I know it's happening in the civilian world as well, but it's very significant. Military members are the healthiest population demographic in the country, and we're being decimated. Another significant thing, talking about the social scoring, my sister is a Space Force officer, and they're getting rid of physical fitness tests at the Space Force, and they're being forced to wear a device 24/7 that will track everything about them, to include intimacy, what they eat, what their brainwaves when they sleep. So they're getting rid of physical fitness tests in the Space Force and forcing them to wear these devices. So that's also very concerning.
Tell me, who is Dr. Was it
Lieutenant Colonel Teresa Long.
Yes.
She
Where was
is-
she and what was her job?
Yes, so she is an Army medical doctor. She was in charge of basically signing off if people are capable of flying. I think it was in Texas.
I think she was in Dothan, Alabama, actually.
Okay.
Is that right? Dr. Teresa Long?
Colonel
Dothan,
Long.
Alabama.
Yeah, Army.
Army medic, yep. So she is a whistleblower, and they actually put her under a gag order. She provided testimony for a bunch of the lawsuits, and when she showed up here to the Northern District in Florida to provide testimony, it was Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers, who's a Lieutenant Colonel Marine Corps officer, who had to provide the testimony because Colonel Teresa Long was unable to do so because of the gag order that her chain of command put her under. So she is a significant threat to the Department of Defense because she's speaking out for what she knows is right, and they're scared of that.
Does Dr. Long have to check off a pilot anytime they go up?
Yes, she does, and she grounded her entire unit, which is why she's a threat to the Department of Defense. She is one of very few doctors who are saying these members who are vaccinated are not fit to fly.
So over the flight, tell them that the pilots would have to see her before they went up.
Right, so every pilot has to get checked off by a flight surgeon or a doctor in order to be told if they can fly. So when they go through the physical, checklist from this doctor, she said they're not. If you're vaccinated because it's an experimental vaccine, you're not fit to fly, and she grounded them, and she was fired.
Jordan, what are you going to do when you primary Andrade on the 23rd, when you become our District 2 rep? What are you going to do about it?
Yep, so medical freedom is a huge issue for me. All of this is happening because our elections happened in 2020 are unconstitutional. So the first thing you have to do is fix our elections. We have an unconstitutional chain of command, so every single thing happening is unconstitutional. That's the first thing that has to happen. We have to completely restructure the military chain of command. And it's not enough, and I've mentioned this before, it's not enough to reinstate the military members who have been forced out. We have to completely get rid of the leaders in the chain of command who have abused and coerced their military members. Everything that is happening is unlawful, it's unconstitutional, and every Senate candidate that is running at the federal level, I tell them it's the Senate that confirms officer promotions. It is the Senate that can say we are going to halt officer promotions until we can vet and validate where they were in passing down these unlawful orders. Were they complicit? If they were complicit, these people do not get to be promoted, okay? The military officers, our oath is different than the enlistment oath. It is to the Constitution. So we have an obligation, just as our representatives do, to not uphold and be complicit in unlawful orders. And so that's very concerning to me, is you have military chain of command that is complicit and that is letting this happen. So we have to get rid of the chain of command that's in place right now.
And what about the kids that are going to the service academies?
Yep, so I am in contact with a lot of the members that are getting admitted to the service academies. The Air Force Academy allowed them to graduate and will not allow them to commission. So they are in a holding status. Some of them do have attorney representation to try and fight that. But again, litigation takes forever. I'm a plaintiff in a lawsuit and we filed in October and we're still in litigation. And so that's one avenue to tackle this. The other avenue is to get involved in politics. I hate saying getting involved in politics because we all are, because we're citizens. But get involved in legislation, repealing legislation, enacting